Hello again. I've had a few requests to do a sharpening video on how I sharpen my wood turning tools. There are a terrific amount of really good videos already posted on YouTube on how to sharpen your tools, and not to mention at least the one that Carl did not too long ago. But I thought about it and I think, well, we've all got different grinders, we've got different jigs, and we use the tools in a different way. So really everybody's way of sharpening tools and the grind that they like is an individual thing. So it got me thinking, well, if I do it the way I do it, if I show you how I do it, then it will add a little bit of information to especially the new turners on what methods they are likely to employ when they start to wood turn and sharpen their tools. Your tools must be sharp. It is very dangerous if you have a blunt wood turning tool, because you're going to be putting too much pressure on the work and you're forcing the chisel through the wood, and that's not good. What I'm going to do is not compare different systems, different jigs, different machines, different methods of sharpening. I'm just going to show you my setup and what I do and the grinds that I use, and then you can pick out the bits that you like and the bits you don't like. You don't have to take any notice of. So hopefully it'll be of some use to somebody. So we'll go closer to the grinder and we'll get started. And here we are at the grinder. It's a record power 8-inch grinder. It's a high-speed model with 2,800 revs. So obviously you have to be very light with your touches and your passes, otherwise you generate too much heat and burn away too much metal. But it's a very effective grinder. I've had no problem with it at all. It has a 40mm aluminium oxide white wheel, 120 grit, which is the one I use all the time. On the other side there is a 25mm grey wheel, which I believe is about 80 grit, which is only good for reshaping your gouges, etc., not for sharpening in any way, shape or form. Keep the wheel in good condition, keep it true. I'll go into that later on as well. I also have a woodcut jig. There are many jigs on the market. I've gone with the woodcut. It's loosely based on the one-way system, the one-way jig, or the Wolverine jig I should say. It has a fingernail attachment for getting the fingernail profiles on your gouges, etc. And the basic idea is the same. It goes into a little pocket and you move your gouge from side to side. It's 2 inches seems to be the optimum stick out from the jig. The reason actually is that you get consistent grinds every time you go back to the grinder, providing your tool is only sticking out the 2 inches from the end of the jig. And we'll now go into the methods that I employ for actually sharpening the tools. I keep mine on number 5 for everything, apart from my skew chisels, which I'll show you later. Number 5 is ideal for me for everything, for my ball gouges and my spindle gouges, and doesn't matter what size they are, I use the same setting on there. And the way that you actually set this up, if you take for example a standard spindle gouge, this is a 3/8 spindle gouge, you place it in the bottom of the jig there. As I say, very similar to all the different types there on the market. They suggest a 2-inch overhang. So what we do there, I've got a little stop which is 2 inches from the front of the bench, and the reason for that is they reckon that's the optimal distance it should be overhanging, and also it gives you a consistent grind. Every time you go back to the grinder you're going to get your wings to the same degree of sweep that you had the previous time. And then all you do, you put the leg into the pocket here, and then you move the arm back and forth, and then start with one side, roll it, the other side, roll it, and then when you've got them level, then you roll it right over. Light pressure on the nose, and you can roll it as far or as small rotation as you wish, depending on how far you want the wings to be swept back. And you can see on there that you have a single facet. I'll put the light on, maybe that'll help. You've got a single facet there and right the way through, and that gives you a consistent grind every time. And I use that, as I say, with my bowl gouge as well. And just to prove the point, if I put the bowl gouge in, again the 2 inches, and bearing in mind, as I said before, I keep it on setting number 5 for all my gouges. And the same and they're equal, and again you can see a perfect single faceted grind right off the grinder. I don't do anything else, I then go on to my work and carry on. This is my square end scraper, which used to be a round nose scraper, and I've just altered its profile. Again, set the table to the desired bevel, and hold it flat to the table and move it across very lightly across the wheel, and you will see the sparks dancing over the top, which means we have a bowl scraper type design, because I use that on my small boxes, etc. Same thing, you put the table down to the correct angle for your bevel, and then you place that flat on the tool rest, and in a sweeping motion, keeping it in the middle, sweep it round, sweep it round, and the sparks coming over the top are indicating that you're getting a nice edge. And now, sharpening the oval skew chisel always presents a bit of a problem because of the nature of the body of the chisel. It's oval, and that's to ease its traverse along the tool rest. It's difficult to keep it at a perfect angle on a flat tool rest because it tends to rock. This woodcut system allows me to sharpen my oval skew chisels as well as my standard skew chisels with the aid of the sharpening jig attachment, the fingernail grind attachment. I alter the leg. In this case I put it to number 2. Check the bevel angle, which I've already done, and you switch on your machine. You keep this as 90 degrees as you can to the wheel, and then literally touch it, move it back slightly backwards and forwards, check it, and there you can already see a perfect single facet bevel. And then the same for the other side, keeping this at 90 degrees to the wheel. And there we go, the same on the other side. A great way of sharpening your skew chisels. And as I say, the same method applies for the standard skew. Now what I tend to do is, after I've been on the grinding wheel with the skew chisel, I then go over to a leather honing strop, and I'll take you over there now and show you what I do. All this consists of is a piece of leather which I've attached to a piece of spare wood. Then you charge the leather with honing compound of your choice. In this case I use the green because I have lots of it. And then literally after you've been on the grinding wheel, you put the bevel against the leather, raise the handle until the edge is in contact and draw it back, not too much pressure, draw it back an equal amount of times on each side. We'll just do 6 on this one. It's a bit difficult with the camera where it is actually. And then turn over the chisel and the same method, get the bevel connected to the strop and drag back. 3, 4, 5, 6. And there you have a really sharp skew chisel. And what I tend to do with my skews, once I've been to the grinding wheel, I won't go back there for quite some time. When the edge dulls slightly, I just bring it to the strop and touch it up on the strop. And that's all I do with the skews. Diamond parting tool, I raise the rest and put it at the desired angle to get the correct angle on the edge. Turn on, always let your grinder get up to speed, and then you hold it against, lightly against, and just rub it back and forth. Give it a nice straight edge, and the same on the other side, and that's the job done. And you can see that it is a lovely edge and equal on both sides and single facet. Diamond stone, they cost about £6–7. You can see the few black bands there. That's metal that is actually embedded in the wheel, which not only increases the heat generated when you're sharpening, it also doesn't sharpen as well. It doesn't cut the steel away so well. So a quick, and make sure that you wear, like I'm going to put on now, a dust mask, because obviously you've got metal particles flying around in the air. Literally very, very lightly, I rest it on the rest here and just show it flat, move it back and forth, and as you can see it's starting already to remove the metal. It's dressing the wheel. And you'll find immediately it will cut more successfully. Is sharpening my 1.5" roughing gouge, because that will not fit into the attachment. So what I did is make a one-way like arm with a little pocket here, just out of hardwood, and that slots in the end conveniently, and I can just tighten that down with that nut, and then I can use the pocket to put the back of the handle in. I've already checked the angle, and then literally the same as you would with the one way. There we have a perfect edge, and it works well for this particular tool. As I say, that's the only tool I use it for, so that comes out, and then we go back to using the jig as it was meant to be. That is the way that I sharpen my tools. There are other ways of doing things, but then I promise not to go into comparisons, which I'm not going to do. So thank you very much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.